9 months ago, I did a video called I Bought a 70-Foot Truck Scale, where I gave my initial thoughts on a new business I was gonna open. Well, today it's open. So in this video, I'm gonna go back and revisit those initial thoughts, tell you what I was wrong about, what I was right about, and where I'm at today. If you're new to the channel, my name is Travis, and I make videos about my garbage business, my propane business, my scrap metal business, real estate, and really any business topic that I find interesting. These videos are meant to catalog my life as a multiple business owning entrepreneur and hopefully inspire somebody else to make an investment or start a business. I don't claim to be an expert on anything really, I just think what I do is kind of interesting. If you think it's interesting too, I would hope you would consider subscribing to the channel, maybe liking the video or sharing it with a friend. So much work went into this investment. I can't even explain. So many man hours went into preparing this and just figuring out how to do a business I had never done. Trying to open a business that you've never operated before is kind of scary. I think most people that do stuff like this have worked at a business just like this before they went out on their own. So at the point of opening this business, everything I knew about the scrap metal business was really from things I had read online, people I had talked to, and YouTube videos. Shout out to iScrap and Thumbprint. These two channels are where I learned most of what I know about how to grade metal and just in general how the scrap business works. But now I have a scrapyard and it's pretty cool. In the 70-foot truck scale video, I laid out my initial thoughts, how much I thought I would spend, how things would kind of work, and I was kind of right, but I was also very wrong. My original plan called to buy one excavator that would cost around $100,000 and then to lay a slab and put the truck scale down, and that would be about $70,000. And then I had to do some dirt work to prepare the ground, and I figured there would be some odds and ends, and all in all, I figured I would spend about $400,000 on the investment. But one thing I severely underestimated is that I was selling a new service to existing customers. In my previous life, I had a crude oil trading business, and I opened my first location, and then once I had that area saturated, I opened another location. I would use a cookie cutter approach to replicate what I had done at the first location at the second, third, fourth location. Each area would have a manager, a dispatch center, a field tech, a group of drivers. It was all the same thing over and over, just in a different area. Before it was all said and done, I had 4 regional dispatch offices and a corporate office, and we covered operations in 5 states. And even though that worked really well, the downside was I was constantly traveling to these different regions for meetings or whatever. I didn't want to do that anymore. I don't want to travel and be gone overnight and away from my family. So this was my idea. Instead of selling the same service to a new customer, why don't I sell a new service to the same customer? This should be way easier because I already have that customer's trust, right? Well, I was actually way more right than I thought. I sent out 15,000 letters to people in my area, and it was almost overnight people started flooding into the scrapyard. This was because I had already built a strong brand and was well known in the area for providing good and fair service. So I had to pivot quite a bit from my original plan. So where I originally thought I would be buying one excavator and doing a little bit of dirt work and buying a scale, I actually bought 3 excavators and did a lot of dirt work. And I originally estimated that if I could get 200,000 pounds a month of steel coming into the yard, I could make a small profit and then grow it from there. Once we opened, the first month we brought in 450,000 pounds of steel. The second month, over 800,000 pounds of steel. And every month ever since, we've done about 1.1 or 1.2 million pounds of steel. So yeah, I had to pivot. I originally started with one excavator that had a grapple on it. This was kind of an all-around machine that would kind of handle anything that could come up, right? But I found quickly that the grapple really didn't do a very good job on the small, thicker metals, and we were having to unload a lot of that by hand. So I bought a second excavator and put a magnet on it. This helped tremendously when dealing with the small, thicker metal. I could just run the magnet over somebody's trailer and just suck it right up like it was nothing. The other thing I found is that I was having a very hard time keeping up with bigger metals that needed to be cut down to size so that it could be taken to the mill and sold. My original plan was to cut these bigger metals with a cutting torch. But I found very quickly that we became overwhelmed. Things like pipe and I-beam and dozer tracks and things like this, they had to be cut down to less than 3 foot. But it was taking a tremendous amount of time to actually cut these things down. And every day we were just piling more and more material up. If you don't sell the material you bring in, you run the risk of just continually building inventory and you don't make any money. So I spent another $300,000 on a third excavator that I put what's called a shear on it. This shear will cut almost anything. It will cut a 6-inch solid round bar, and it will turn a job that would probably take all day into like maybe 20 or 30 minutes. This shear is so valuable that I basically run it all day, every day. I wouldn't be able to operate without it. On top of that, I had to do quite a bit more dirt work to create an overflow lot because we were receiving things so fast and we weren't able to keep up that I was just stacking things all over the yard. I figured down the road I could use the overflow lot to sell things that came into the scrapyard that I didn't want to scrap because I thought I could get more money for them just by putting them up front with the for sale sign on them. Things like tractors and stuff like this, we resell all the time. On top of all that, I bought a Skytrak to help move things around the yard, and it's also really helpful on cleanups. I was renting a Skytrak for the cleanup I was on at something like $800 a week. So it made so much sense just to buy my own. So at this point, I basically doubled what I originally thought I was going to invest, and I invested somewhere around $800,000 into this new business venture. But the good news is that I'm absolutely killing my original estimates for what I'm going to receive. I'm doing probably 5 or 6 times what I originally estimated. And this is one of the things that's so scary about starting a new business. You could fail by being a victim of your own success. If you have a really great idea and you get flooded with business, you can get overwhelmed or just continually build inventory, and you may not be ready for that flood. If you're not able to pivot and scale up quickly, then it could be detrimental to the business. It's kind of crazy if you think about it, right? You have a really good idea, you get overwhelmed, you can't keep up, or you take on too much cost trying to scale up, and then you run out of money. It happens all the time. Luckily, this didn't happen to me. I was able to scale up. I'm able to accommodate. There's still many more things I'm gonna have to invest in before this is over, but for right now, I have a good run rate and I'm handling what's coming in, and I think I got a pretty good little business going. I'm thinking about doing a video about how a scrapyard works. If you're interested in seeing that, drop me a comment below and let me know. I'm gonna put up the original 70-foot truck scale video right here, and also how I was forced to buy a vacation rental. I'll see you soon in the next video.